Hey, what's up everyone? It is the one and only Maxi here, and I am from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as always. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Game Boy Advance. So, last time we have basically managed to able to accomplish the 4th world, which is Spooky House. In this case, my second favorite level in the entire game. And today for this episode is the fact that we are about to be moving on to the 5th world in this game, which appears to be Mystic Forest. And for this particular world, this is where the actual puzzle elements will start to get a little bit tad difficult, especially noticeable whenever we get onto the 3rd stage. Which, for the longest time, potentially speaking, that, actually I'll get into more details about that specific details later, because as you can see, we actually stumbled across another gimmick of this level, and that's what appears to be those change switch when it comes to likely, or should I say, the actual conveyor belt switching. So because of that, every time you activate something like here, basically those conveyor belts will start to change directions. So that'll be the most important element of this stage, as you can see right there. Especially noticeable if you're trying to obtain a key, then you know you just have to make sure you need to able to get the actual conveyor belts changes directions. And every once in a while though, because every time when the key managed to able to get dropped into the actual spikes below, then basically it'll just respawn back into where the actual key spot is. So that should be worth knowing for the sake of likely just trying to able to obtain that. So yeah, not much else has been going on for the sake of this point today, guys, apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking, it's just the fact the matter is that, well, I'm pretty darn certain that today's day is, of course, the, I would say today is the 16th today, in this case in November, in 2021. So, at least if I recall correctly with the actual releases in mind. So, a few things we want to explain is the fact that, well, I think we've only got about 3 more days to go until specifically Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is about to be coming to the Nintendo Switch consoles, which that'll be exciting for some Pokemon fans out there, which it will still be coming onto the films of 19th of November, so expecting to be hyped. And also I picked up some new pickups for this point, and somehow for whatever reason that on you know, with that tutorial video, as you say, that every time whenever you're able to actually finish the hammer, when you see that little introductioning screen, somehow it just gets like a Mario Toy Company theme in the background for a second ago. Well, mind you, despite the fact that it takes place in a different environment, which is usually Mystic Forest, but as you can see, we stumbled across these little spear guys, and well, but basically it kind of feels like a similar enemies as the forms of in one of those enemies from the sake of Donkey Kong 94. If you haven't played that game before, basically if you stumble across something related to an enemy that is usually asleep, but if you get close to it though, he'll just immediately ambush you and then try to kill you. So basically with those spear guys, well, they function the same way as one of those enemies in Donkey Kong 94. Except the fact that, well, usually, relatively speaking, they now appeared somewhat later on throughout, well, it's kind of hard to explain, because I know it has been, I would say 3 days ago since I actually last played this, because obviously with, Klonoa 2, Lunity's Veil, and also more uploads of Mario Party 6, and all that stuff. Speaking of Mario Party 6 though, is the fact that I'm pretty sure that Jewel, she's almost going to be wrapping things up in terms of Mario Party 6, because after all, that she will definitely going to finish that game up a day after the Pokemon Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond are about to be releasing on the Switch. So yeah, that should be worth noting for the sake of what's going to come up, especially notable because obviously that we've almost done with the series of not only for the Mario Party series but also some other Mario Kart games as well, although mind you we're actually missing some of them, ranging from, you know, Mario Kart Arcade GP DX on the arcade emulator, because we have not exactly sure of able to actually access to that, and also Mario Kart Tour, because the thing will never end until God knows when, and also Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which I'm not exactly sure if I was gonna get that specific accessories for Mario Kart Live Home Circuit until specifically this year and this Christmas. But then again, we'll have to wait and see what happens when it gets closer towards the very end of 2021. Okay, so here we go on to level 5-3, and this is where we're able to actually notice on that particular image on the level select screen that we might able to stumble across those familiar enemies ever since in the 2D Mario days, which it's not gonna happen, mind you, until we finish this particular stage first, or specifically in this segment here. Now, for the longest time, that back in a long time ago, Mystic Forest used to be my least favorite world in the game, but after I play it for the longest amount of time, since like, God knows how long, I realized about the fact that I'm pretty sure I'm pretty much get used to with this, especially noticeable, although sometimes that trying to toss the key upwards can be a bit fickle at times, but at least thankfully I know exactly what I was gonna do. So yeah, basically you just have to let the key just manage to do that, and then, well, you just have to hurry up, because either way though, if you don't hurry this up at all, then you got to start all over again with this whole entire method again. So that used to be one of my least favorite levels of the game, but the more I've grown older, then I know exactly what to do. But for the first time players, they do not know to be expected at this rate, then obviously that's unfortunately though that you're gonna have to put up with a lot of like thinking to go through, as well as the forms of some other complications to do. But yeah, you get the idea about that. So, and also I just realized something, is the fact that until 2 days time, that, well, exponentially in the UK release of not only for, what's classified for saying, LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7 on the majority of any other platforms used to be, and also say applies to, Super Mario 3D Land for the Nintendo 3DS, and of course Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games, on the Wii version most likely, that, for that particular, those few games alone, is now officially, well, until 2 days time in the UK, those games are about to be a decade old, which, relatively speaking, I don't suppose that, Ray hasn't mentioned about this either, but, recently that particular game on the Wii, specifically Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games, on, the North American version included, with the Wii version, that game is basically now a decade old, which means 10 years ago, which I can't even believe time itself was went flying by, and also say applies to Super Mario 3D Land as well, specifically in Japan, and yeah, you get the idea about that, so... Ah, dang it, I was hoping I can able to actually get some extra lives there, but oh well, no big deal. So of course, here we go on to level 5-4, where we're able to actually introduce into ourselves those bats. And basically, every time whenever you're able to think you're doing so well to climb up to those vines or ropes, then every once in a while there's going to be some bats flying around. And if the bat caught you, basically you get stunned for a moment, and then, well, it's almost like choking to death. And then basically you just ended up falling off, so... yeah, you don't want to let that happen, especially noticeable you don't able to actually just to instantly die from spikes or fall off into the highest height and just get a massive bang like I've almost did right there. Especially noticeable if you're trying to able to climb up all the way higher up, and then basically it's the fact that, well, you just have to be very careful with those bats, because obviously they will try to stun you if you're not careful, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and grab the key and then try to ride on this little elevator-like platforms, and we should be good to go. So, look at that, 74 seconds, which, again, not to be confused as KevKing74 and stuff like that, which I still haven't heard from him throughout the entirety of his uploading schedules lately, because he was still supposed to be going back onto Mario Plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, but unfortunately he discovered the forms of some quite a few problems with it, such as, for instance, I believe he lost his save data on Mario Plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, so I don't know what happened to it though, although I'm pretty sure it's because of the forms of the storage problems on the actual Gigabyte storage, which that also doesn't help about the fact that his DLC was lost too. So, God knows, if he gets some progressioning back, then he will continue things on for his Let's Play. I'm not exactly 100% sure, because, well, it's kind of hard to say, because I know it has been, you know, a year ago since I actually last heard of him. So, anyway, so here we go with 5-5, and yeah, we've already done that already. But the only thing is worth noting for is the fact that we have to deal with this massive puzzle segment right there. Although, there's actually an easier way you can do this though, and that is if you go all the way to the left, activate the yellow switch if you can, and, well, exponentially you're able to get into the quickest way if you're trying to do this, and grab the red present there, and toss the key over there, and, well, that's how you do in this level. So, yeah, it's pretty easy when you get the hang of it though, even though sometimes for first impressions can get a little bit... Can you get in the door, please? Thank you. Hey, 123 seconds. Or should I say 123 seconds as far as I'm aware, and we reach over 300 seconds, so that'll give me the actual huge opportunity into whenever I'm able to reach the certain amount of time for able to add in more bonus points and what have you. So yeah, that should be nicely well put it together. So, and of course we got these familiar monkey-like enemies ever since in World 2, so nothing different from there, except the fact that, well, it does take place in the forest after all. So and as I said before, this is where the certain puzzle levels, or certain segments of certain puzzles, might get a bit difficult later on, especially noticeable in certain levels as well, because obviously we've almost nearly at the end of the game. So, I think relatively speaking, I would say that we almost at the halfway point in terms of this game's Let's Play so far. Well, because the reason why I'm saying this is because, well, you'll find out until the next few days coming up, especially noticeable for the majority of November and possibly December, which is the final month of 2021. So, yeah, that should be exciting. And speaking of not so exciting, we got Donkey Kong as in no lives at all. So, oh yeah, I forgot to mention about the bomb bombs usually functions in this game. If you dare close to one of those, if you try to get closer to one of those bomb bombs, basically they'll start flashing red, which means it's about to explode, and basically you can use those bomb bombs to able to break certain blocks. So, like you see why until whenever we get into this next portion of this particular stage, which is of course World 5-6, and yeah, this level's pretty easy when you get the hang of it though, but usually ultimately I was expecting if I was trying to do a speedrun tactic, but unfortunately though it will be pretty difficult to pull off. So what I tend to do is that I have to go here and just be sure you don't able to actually land on any of those sand blocks, because obviously that you will get screwed if you dare touch one of those sand blocks if you just managed able to being so hasty and stuff. So yeah, let's get to the bob-bombs of this game, and that is the fact that, well, every time whenever you see those little bob-bomb containers inside, well, basically the bob-bombs will come out, and then I just really love the actual bob-bombs sound clips because they're so adorable. It just goes like mom, and then basically that's that actually represents that the bob-bombs actually starts walking. And if you get close to one of them, like I'm going to show you right now, it immediately starts flashes red, which means it's about to explode, and then it flashes continuously. Basically, it will just stand completely still, and it's preparing to explode, and that is how you're able to actually deal with those blocks, with these blue and orangey-like blocks, and that's the essential thing to able to actually continue your progressioning if you try to deal with those blocks. So, yeah, that's how it usually goes with the bob-bombs in this game. So, but again, that usually these little voice clips with those bob-bombs is actually super adorable. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty darn cute. So anyways, let's hope we can get... Ah, son of a biscuit. I'm having so many, problems with my timing skills when it comes to getting some more extra lives today. But oh well, no big deal, but at least we got 53 lives at the moment, so... Alright, so here we go with this next Mini Mario level, and sure enough, we'll once again obtain the letters again, so... But this time around, though, we need to deal with these bob-bombs again, so, this is where things gets really tricky, though, because, well, you have to be, like, You can't rush this though, because obviously if you dare rush it up, then obviously one of your mini Marios will be, well, exploded, or in some cases that, yeah, like that one over there, but thankfully I can just, well, retry that, and then just try to do this again, so, yeah, you just have to be patient with that particular level sometimes. Especially noticeable that you always have to make sure that these blocks were, you know, destroyed first by utilizing the bombs and stuff like that. So, oh jeez, that was a close one. I almost gonna die right there. But at the very least, that we can able to actually just to make those mini Marios safe. Although we're all trying to do it just up there from now on. Although, if you think you'll be perfectly safe if you manage able to obtain every single of those. Oh, and by the way, if we manage able to toss the bomb up there, just make sure you let those mini Marios stay clear from those explosions, because if the bomb explodes while the mini Mario was involved, at least any of them, sometimes it counts as a death for mini Marios. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And then if you think you've done, well, first of all, once you've obtained a Y, if you think you're perfectly done now, well, it turns out there's actually one more thing to do. That is, stay away from the bomb immediately, and then just try to able to quickly let those mini Marios get into the spring, and thankfully, you should be safe from now. So either way though, that pretty much concludes this mini Mario level. Although, whenever we get into World 6 though, that this will be the definition of the final time we can able to do those mini Mario levels, because, well, then again, I'll explain more details about this until the future parts of this playthrough, so, or this Let's Play, whatever. Alright, now it's time to deal with Donkey Kong in Mystic Forest, and basically this time around though, he now starts to toss those pink bombs, or should I usually call these like bomb buddies, almost equivalent, and I somehow got screwed over, so, oh well, that's a good start, if not. So anyway, with this Donkey Kong boss fight, basically the exact same deal, except now we have to rely on the bombs that we need to toss at him. And also on top of that, he will occasionally decide to able to actually keep on switching those specific directions for those conveyor belt parts. And the more he keeps on changing the conveyor belt and usually changes direction, then it'll start to get a bit tricky. And also you have to be very cautious with that particular, not only for this explosion effect, but if every time you're able to toss the bomb right at Donkey Kong, but also that sometimes the hit detection on certain stuff on the bombs seem to able to get a bit tap big for my taste. Well, especially noticeable with the hitbox is a bit too tight for my liking. But at least thankfully, if you do manage to able to let the bomb explode on Donkey Kong, like, you know, as you noticed from earlier ago, that I accidentally managed to toss the bomb a little bit slightly off to the edge, right where Donkey Kong was, but at least thankfully you can able to actually give him a hit by letting the pink bomb explode on him. So yeah, that does usually count. So, and there we go, we basically got every single stars in Mystic Forest, and that pretty much does it for World 5, which means we're now moving on to World number 6.
Here we go again.
Yep, here we go again, Mario. Here we go again. So, anyway, and this will lead us to Twilight City. So, we got the endings of this point right here, guys. So, join me next time for Let's Play Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and that is the fact that we're going to be exploring through World 6, which is, again, Twilight City. So, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Later, fellas.